So, welcome along everyone. My name's Aleisha Broomfield and I'm the Farm Systems Specialist for Waikato and Northland. I have the best session today, going through who these guys are, what makes them tick and their financial performance. So, first of all, I met Hugh back when I was 19, so just a couple of years ago, at Pairere Young Farmers. And Hugh was always an outgoing guy that was always keen on a mission and just a really great attitude, and that stuck with him. A couple of years later, Anna came along, and they just make an awesome team together. So that's what we're going to hear about. So we're here until 11:15. And we're going to go through a bit of the farm background on Anna and Hugh. Then I'll run you through their financials and we'll have lots of time at the end for questions and answers. So first of all, I'll get you guys to introduce your people, who's your team and anyone we haven't met yet.
Hey guys, welcome to Oru. Stoked to have you guys here, and it's an awesome thing to be a part of to start the day off, and hopefully learn something. Basically we're here. I've got two staff here, Laura and Alvin, which
wave your hands out.
There they are, over that corner there. Yep. So basically Laura's here in the top shed here, and we've got Alvin doing his thing down in the bottom cow shed, and had Alvin for 3 years now, and Laura's just been here for a few months, but she's full of energy and she's great to work with as well, so it's good. And also over this side we've got my parents, who own a dry stock farm, and Gay Lamb, who's there. She's used to own a farm, the bottom farm we have here too, so it's awesome to have her here today as well, so it's really cool.
Okay, now Hugh, if you can give us a background about the farm. We've got, just working through the booklet, but we've got some info up here and the farm map. So I'm from Morrinsville with a square flat farm, so if you can point out a few key features on this farm, that'd be great.
Okay, so we are we're right here. We're right there. This is our top cow shed. So this farm, this is the boundary between the two dairy farms, basically goes through there. So we're in the top cow shed here. This is a farm we first purchased in 2018, and we're still share milking down in Notrahonga at the time for a bit of cash flow. And we ran this for 2 years with contract milkers on it until we managed to get our hands on this farm here, the bottom farm, what we call the RRJ, and we managed to join them two together. So we got really lucky with timing that they were both to sell at the same time. We managed to secure this one, and then that one kind of was still on the market the whole time. We managed to take a couple of years, but we managed to get across the line to be able to buy that too, so it worked really well for us. The main thing that was the main attraction to buying this farm is my parents' farm is down here, which is a dry stock farm, and so we managed to basically just backs onto that, and that kind of was a great way to be able to make it a closed system and go from there.
So a few key details: how many cows, and are they all run through one shed or keep the farm separate?
Okay, so basically the way we kind of run it now is the top shed, this is our main cow shed where we are. We do all the calving through this shed. And then the bottom shed, we basically just have whole milk cows down there. So no colostrums, no calves. It's just a cow shed doing its own thing down there. We do all our calving on the dry stock. We winter 200 cows on a dry stock farm right through to calving. And as we start calving, we kind of pushing more cows over there, and then more cows are sort of coming back as we kind of get through calving. So basically, we lock all these paddocks up through winter for colostrum paddocks. And the main juggle we have is trying to have enough grass in the right areas once they start milking again. So it's kind of the juggling act we play every winter, but it kind of works out. But so basically it's really good because we have all the staff in one spot for calving, and everyone can be all working in one sort of team. And then as we get enough cows calved, we start the second shed, and that's where Alvin goes down and does his thing down there. He does a really good job. He's done a great job with cell count and everything this year, so he's on fire. So that's been really good. And also noticeably, you'll notice as you drive up the road, we're not flat. So we do have a lot of hills and sidelings and that, which we've kind of all managed to kind of fence accordingly now. We've got a lot of sidelings fenced off that we can either use for dry stock or nearly to the point of retiring some paddocks. We're still going through that sort of process, but we've always got plenty of dry stock hanging around that there's enough to graze these sort of niggly areas. So the cows, we don't have to push cows too hard on anything too steep. So, yeah.
On the cows, I haven't seen them yet, but I've heard there's a couple of breeds. So talk us through that maybe.
Yeah, okay. So I was a Frisian man all day. I like my black and whites. And Anna's more of a Jersey lover, so that's fine. But you'll notice they are still separated. The big thing was, so Anna was running her own share milking job in Otaronga, and I was running my own one too. So when we bought this farm, her herd came up here first, so they got to stay in they got the good stuff. But and then mine came up a couple of years later, and they weren't allowed to mingle. So, but I know they do mingle for calving too. Fair. So we do run it all as one as calving. They've got yellow tags for the Jerseys and orange tags for the Frisians, which are down the bottom. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So so that's one thing there. And as we've gone through the last few years, they've been very comparable. That I haven't found any reason to get rid of the Jerseys. They've done all right. So yeah, no, it's been a good little. Every time you look on the app, they're just it's there or thereabouts for both herds. So yeah, that's where we're at on that. Yeah.
Cool. So what farm system are you running? And we've heard you're feeding a bit. So what kind of feeding levels are you doing?
Okay, so we're system 3, borderline system 4 now, I think, because we have upped it in the last couple of years with the high payout and quite reasonable palm kernel prices. So we've jumped up from about 600-700 cow up, right up to over 1 to 1.3 even. Yeah, so we have just trying to make use of the economics of that. Really, it's kind of an opportunity there. We thought we'd just give it a go, and it seems to be working out. So, yeah.
Awesome. So some of the key things the DairyNZ team identified is making these guys high performing with production per cow and per hectare, and we might talk about that a bit more when we get out to the cows. Pasture and crop harvested was another area they were above the benchmark, so we'll hear more about that out in the paddock. The 6-week in calf rate at 84%. Can you put your hand up if you're at 84%? Okay, so that's amazing results across the two herds. And then the efficiency of the team. So these guys are both working in the team with the 2 full-time and Bob helping on the dry stock, but they're still getting a lot of milk solids per person. So working really hard to get those results. And that's some things we identified as being key strengths. So now, Anna, if you want to talk us through your background and your progression kind of to this point, what that looked like.
My dairy career started when Dad actually converted. There was 200 hectares down in Otaronga. He ran about 1,800 ewes, 300 bulls and beefies. So I started there as a calf rearer, moved up to 2IC, did about 3 seasons there. There was about 650 cows between a 54 barrel rate tree, system 2, just real basic system. That second season I was there, Dad's share milker was on his last thing on his other farm on the other side of Otaronga on Wangaronga Road. He gave me the option to go share milking. So I was like, might as well grab it with both hands. Didn't get that option. That was 280 cows to up to 300 on a 90 hectare, system 2. Drenching every morning because there was no dosatron. Did chicory for about 4 years, 10 hectares.
So what kind of year was that? How long ago?
So that was started 2012, so I was 21, yeah.
Cool. So that's pretty cool. Share milking on your own as a female at 21, amazing. And then when did Hugh come along?
2015.
Why did she say, oh?
Because he never left.
Okay, so we might skip over to Hugh.
Okay, so yeah, my background, always been a keen farmer. As I say, mum and dad were just dry stock farmers, so I actually found their farm a little bit boring because we didn't even have a tractor. So I was always coming over to the neighbours here or the other neighbours and relief milking after school and that sort of thing. And so always keen to be a sort of a farmer. I broke my ankle when I was 15, so I was laid up for a bit there and actually went engineering for a year at Polytech, just because the doctor actually told me I should do something while I'm doing nothing, and which was good. I learnt that, but what I quickly realised is I hated being inside all day in a workshop. You go outside briefly for lunch and you're like, oh man, it's a good day, and didn't even know it was a good day. So now I was keen as to get back outside. So did a little stint driving tractors, went to England, drove there for a bit and came back. Got sick of driving tractors basically, and got real lucky. Found a real good boss in Manmatter. Took me on as a farm assistant, and he was in a growth stage as well. He bought his first farm the same year while I was working for him on the share milking job. So he let me contract milk his farm he just bought, and it was my second year farming. So, but I found it real easy to learn. I was terrible at school. I was pretty useless. But when it came to learning at farming stuff, I just seemed to, it's what you're good at or what you like, I guess. So picked that up pretty quick. And then so contract milking for them for a year. They gave up their share milking job and moved on to farm themselves. So it was all good. And I found a job down the road here. Did contract milking 4 years down the road here. And the whole time trying to find a share milking job. But I was only early 20s, and no farmers understandably that keen to take on a single young share milker at that time. So, but I got my opportunity down at Otronga. This guy randomly rang me. I still don't know how he got my number, but it was good. He did. Real stoked. And that was 400 cows share milking down Otronga. And that was a system 2 farm, basically. That was real low input. That was it was a good way to really learn some good pasture management if I didn't already have it. So that was good. Grew that farm pretty well from, I think the first year I was 48% up in production, so that was kind of cool. But it sort of shows how poorly run it kind of been, but it's it's fine. But yeah, that was great. I made the first season though was a $3.90 payout, so that was pretty tough. That was that's still very much envisioned in the back of our heads here, burnt in there, of how tough that kind of was. But luckily, I guess I didn't know any better because that was my first year. So I remember my milk checks were about the same size as contract milking, but I had all these extra costs, so that's kind of didn't make it too fun. But once the payout corrected itself in the following years, it got a lot easier and a lot better, and away we went. So, And
then bringing it together, you sort of briefly covered it, but the crossover, when you decided he can have my money and I can have her money, how did you do that?
Yep, so basically that first year I met Anna because she was obviously just share milking 2 farms over. We started comparing notes pretty quickly. And that was all good. So that kind of just grew from there. And in that time, this farm here came up for sale, and then we started, progressing in our relationship as well, I guess. And we managed to kind of make it happen. So that was kind of really good.
3 years.
So 3 years separately, share milking on our own, and then on 2018 was the year we bought this, and we joined together. Gave up her job and kept my job down there, and her cows came up here. So that's kind of how that kind of worked. And then we kept down there. The plan was to do that for 3 years, 3 to 5 years, to keep the cash flow going. We needed all the cash we could kind of get. And in that time, this farm down here was still for sale, so we really dug deep and cap in hand wherever we could go to find some more finance for that. And it was awesome. The best thing about this farming industry is that there's always people keen to help out and things like that. So it's really cool. Once we secured that, that's when we managed to give up the share milking job down here and move up here ourselves, and that was 2020. And then this is where we've kind of been since that, with how we've ran this system since then. Yeah.
Awesome. So this is a bit cute, but when the 2 businesses come together, You usually find what the other's strengths are and have to work together. So tell us about Anna's strengths.
All of them. No, really good. She's definitely the record keeper of us. That's for sure. I will do things and be pretty average at recording things, and I always forget that I don't later on. But she's very good, and she's definitely the cow person more so than me. Just natural at it, whereas I'm more of a force myself to be good at it. I'd rather be the machinery type sort of guy, or be out in the paddocks doing things, whereas she's more happy doing animal health sort of side of things. So that's definitely how we've identified ourselves as that.
Awesome. And then Anna, if there's any strengths that Hugh brings, let us know.
He's definitely a hard worker. Anyone can see that. He'll drop a hat if anyone needs a hand. Machinery. I hate machinery. I can drive a tractor, but I get bored on it. But definitely cows are my type of comfort.
I think you said you were good at pasture.
Oh, and the pasture. which we both do.
Yeah, equally good at that. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, sticking with you, Anna, the next bit is what are your, as a business and family, what are your short, medium and long-term goals?
So 1 to 2 years, obviously keep paying down debt. At the moment, trying to work out what's our next step, buying more shares or land. Obviously take the kids out on a lot of holidays because they are young, and I do enjoy that. 5 to 10 years, definitely would like to have this debt-free, and obviously still, hopefully, have bought something else or growing, if possible, yes. That's all if everything goes into line. 15 years, just keep growing and hopefully be a bit more relaxed.
Awesome. And then what drives you guys? Is it your goals or owning half the Waikato or having something
Definitely
to pass
not
to the
owning
kids?
half the Waikato.
When it's a rough day, what drives you to get out of bed and keep on doing what you're doing?
Our kids and what we love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else from you?
Basically, what gets me out of bed every day is basically I have a big use of mentors, through my stages of career here. So always trying to keep them somewhat proud of what we're doing. So so that's my big driver really, is just make sure I seem to be doing a decent enough job. Going back, we don't want to own half the Waikato, that's for sure. But I'd love to be able to start investing with people and helping people grow as well, and help us grow. Like a win-win. Always big on win-wins. It's all the way through for everything we kind of do. Always want it to be a win-win sort of scenario. Yep.
Awesome. So when I sat down with Hugh and Anna, they told me when they brought these farms, they thought they'd just be chugging away on debt here for the next 30 years. But if you turn to this book, this page in your book, you'll be able to see in 2021 they started doing dairy base, and this is how their assets have increased in the last 4 years. So they're pretty low key and just say we're doing what we're doing, but their assets have massively grown, and that's through expanding as well as smashing it, using high milk price to smash out the debt. So really stoked they're happy to share. In the last, this year they're targeting about $1 million of debt reduction in this business, which is amazing. The previous year was just over 900. The year before that around 500, and the year before when we were all in a low milk price, they still paid off 250k. So that's amazing work. So get your questions ready for, after, see how they do it all. So next, I'll quickly run you through Dairy Base. So some of you will be familiar, some of you won't. These guys have put their numbers into Dairy Base. It's a free program, so contract milkers, share milkers, and farm owners can put their data in. And what it does is it has 5 adjustments. So they are labour, so these guys are included in Dairy Base, their time. Feed, so if more or less feed is carried between seasons, the runoff is adjusted. So you might be sitting there going, oh, well, they can achieve these results because of the runoff. We've adjusted for that as well. Cow values, so if they go up and down with IRD at the moment, and if they have more or less animals. And the final one is depreciation. So these guys, we've compared them to the Waikato benchmark. So the first one up here is operating profit against the average farmer and per hectare, and they're up over 8,000, and the average farmer was, as you can see, in the middle there. And that's consistent across multiple years, and there's about 200 people in that benchmark. So the next one, if we move across, is milk solids per hectare, and again, they're higher across the board. And this is actually something that, if you're looking for a question later, they've been increasing milk production over the last 3 years, so that might be something we dive into a bit deeper. Then we switch over to the benchmark being dollars per kg of milk solid. So what does it cost them to make a milk solid versus what does it cost someone else? For the gross farm revenue, they're getting about the same, so that's all good. But where they're really pulling apart from the benchmark is their operating expenses. So in each of the years, they are a lot lower in the operating expenses. If we look at the next graph in the book, it's a box and whiskers, and that has the quartile report. So for operating profit per hectare, Hugh and Anna are always in the top quartile. For milk production, again in the top quartile. The gross farm revenue is about the middle, so in line there. And then in the operating expenses in 23-24, they had one of the lowest operating expenses per kg of milk solid. So if we come across, just breaking it out a little bit further, dairy operating profit just under 8,200, and the benchmark is 3,700. So if you're good at maths, you'll know they're making 4,500 more per hectare than the average farmer. And then we went through this the other day as well. So gross farm revenue is about 5,000 more, and then the operating expenses are a little bit higher. But as we've talked about, they're buying more feed and converting that really well. Milk sales, again, higher. Livestock revenue, higher. Other dairy revenue is a bit lower. Labour is pretty much exactly the same as the average farmer, including their adjustment. Stock expenses are lower, so we might put that down to Anna's work. Feed expenses slightly higher. Other working higher by about 1,000. And then overheads are about the same. So I thought, well, you know, we know they're not average farmers, so why don't we benchmark them against the top, compared to the average farmer, 4,500 if the benchmark is 188 hectares. These guys are making 850,000 more across the business. And then I said, well, they're not average, so let's go top 20%. And they were still making over 80,000 for the business, more than the top 20% farmers. So amazing stuff. So I'll get Hugh and Anna to come along for this final graph down here. So in your booklet, this compares all of the main, so we're saying they're making about the same money as others in the income, but the expenses is where they're pulling apart from the benchmark. So across every single line item, they are lower, apart from vehicles and fuel and R&M. And there's a reason behind that as well. So Hugh and Anna, can you talk us through how you're getting some of these results and what things you're doing day to day to get lower costs and higher per cow performance?
It's a hard question. Big thing is without being too stingy, but we are trying to just keep on top of our costs. We basically just always, any kind of cost coming up, we just have a quick discussion about it if we're going to do anything. But usually we're just trying to keep it simple, and while we have a big debt, we're just trying to get that down and get that manageable has been our big goal. Basically a lot of these costs here, the one that was higher was the R&M and the vehicles, I think it was, and that's because I do like burning a bit of diesel. And I always like a bit of a project on farm, so that's always going to be higher. Yeah, and done just a lot of work tidying up the farm, so that's always been a bit of a thing. But what's the other kind of standout question that you'd have here?
So another thing is you do a lot yourself.
Yeah.
So what things are you doing yourself to pull down costs?
Yep. Basically, we try to do everything ourselves, what we can. So like right back to AI and that sort of thing. We both do it ourselves. Anna's definitely better than me. She broke her finger on the second day of AI this year, so I had to come out of retirement after 5 years of not doing it and straight into it. So I believe I'll blame a couple of % on empties on me, probably not been doing a good job, but no, she's awesome at that. We do all our own silage. Most of it we do get the contractors in for the maize and some the big cuts from the runoff. But we try basically just any sort of work like that we try to do ourselves, and fertiliser and all that, try and do most of it myself unless I run out of time. It's a big thing. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so this is you guys' time, whether you want to raise a hand and we'll get a mic over to you. But I'll get the ball rolling. So in the past 3 years, we've had sort of lower palm kernel price, high milk price, and the feed going in has increased and the production has increased per cow. How do you see that going forwards if we go into a period? Is that the new normal? Or if we go into a period of lower milk price, will you adjust back again?
Yep.
How do you make those decisions and what does it look like going forwards?
Oh, there's certainly, we look at that all the time, and I actually kind of call that sort of simple maths, almost when you're just converting the price of feed and your milk payout. I know it's a hard thing to kind of judge because you don't know what the milk payout's going to be. That's always that big question. But at the time we think, whatever the opening price of the forecast is and also palm kernel, we just look from there, and then we just kind of know what we're doing now is a big thing, and then just going forward, do we want to chuck some more into them, or do we just do what we're doing and try and make the profit that way? Yeah, is going to be a big thing. It's just how we kind of do it.
So with field days coming up, and a lot of people lock in feed there, do you have a price in your mind what you'd be comfortable with? We'll find out, hopefully, the opening milk price at the end of May. So say it was $9, what would be a feed price you'd be comfortable with?
Anything in the lower 300s would be good. It's probably not going to happen this year, obviously. I think there's not enough oil in the world. But we'll see how it goes. Just kind of... And sometimes the field days isn't the best time to buy it either. Most of the time it is, but sometimes you can get some cheaper ones later on. Yeah, so we sort of...
you get about half at the field days?
Yeah, usually, something like that. And then kind of, hopefully, it's not too bad come December or something like that before it gets dry and the demand's not there and you can usually get a cheaper price then. But that's a big juggling act, and it is an important one because it's our biggest cost on farm. Obviously, when you look at it, it's one of the biggest ones. So we are always trying to look at that and just you want to feed your cows and make some milk, but at the same time it's not economical. You just got to hunker down and try to do it as cheap as you can, without sacrificing next year is our big one for us as well.
And is it just palm kernel you're doing, or are you doing blends?
We do blends, yep. We do a bit more energy or starch in the spring, just trying to keep these girls going for mating. And then come summertime, a little bit of protein, but we're pretty summer safe up here, so we don't really have to push the protein too much. So we just trying to keep it cheap as possible. I'm probably the feed rep's worst nightmare, really, because I'm always trying to haggle her. I was like, it's too much, we need to be cheaper. But that's a big thing.
Awesome, that's great. Have we got any questions out there so far? Are you all just a bit shell-shocked with the 850,000? Okay, we'll get a mic over here, if that's all right, Steph, in the front row with the beanie.
Kia ora. So my question is, you've got high pasture crop eating and you've got relatively high supplements and you increase that. So normally, there is an expectation when you increase supplements, you end up with substitution. So what are your strategies to, one, achieve that high pasture eating, and two, minimise your substitution?
We can, I'll briefly touch on it. Basically, the high pasture, basically that's why we stock higher. we stock a bit higher, so we're always utilising the grass because there's nothing worse than just having a paddock with high residuals, right? So, that's why we do stock. I like to stock a little bit higher just so we're always hitting that mark. And then, so every time you're buying in feed, it's always going to be utilised. And just we do fluctuate the rates of what we're feeding, obviously, throughout the season. So, yeah. Does that kind of answer what you're saying?
There'll be a bit more to it, but we'll let it reveal during the day.
Okay, cool.
But Jane's going to cover this question quite substantially down when we're in the paddock. Okay, I've got a question. Now, you're focused on debt reduction and your R&M is not quite double the benchmark. How do you determine what to spend money on and why? And can you just kind of outline more strategy around your spending and R&M?
Okay, R&M, basically, our strategy around all that is always trying to improve the farm. That's our big thing, and always trying to make our workload easier. So that's always comes back to our decision makings of when we're buying things. Like that, is it going to make our lives easier? Is it actually going to make us any more money or milk? So yeah, but always have a project as well. So I always want to be doing something. But yeah, big thing there is it's definitely the we will clash a bit on. We set the goal of paying off $1 million in a season, and as long as we're sort of on track with that, then we do a bit more R&M or a bit less or whatever we kind of want to do there. So yeah.
I would say that R&M is a bit higher, but across the board it probably averages out with regrassing being lower. A lot of the things, it's not all projects, a lot of it is the stuff you're doing yourself. So these guys have a seed drill, so contracting and fuel and vehicles will be higher because they haven't got it going out to a contractor, they're doing it in-house, but there's a bit more costs there.
Yep.
If you... On that vein, if you had a big project, like I say to my husband, I want a drafting gate so I don't have to get up in the morning for drafting cows, would you look at something like that? Or
Yep,
how
certainly.
do you discuss it between you and who has the final decision?
No, we're certainly always looking at technology. I think technology is awesome and look how far it's coming at the moment. And, always keen to get a new gadget or something like that. But the big thing is you really just got to justify it. Is it worth having? So, we have that discussion. And a drafting gate, yes, that would be really nice to have. But we figure for 4 weeks a year we can handle being in a shed and drafting cows. That's a pretty easy one for us. We're pretty short for AI there. So as nice as it would be, I don't think it's really worth the cost of it just yet. Sure, going forward when we change our system with contract milkers or share milkers or something like that, maybe it could be worth looking at. But at the moment, yeah, those sorts of things we just kind of... who has the final say on that?
Track.
Basically, I don't know, depends. Depends what it is. Yeah. Cool.
Got a question from the back?
Yeah, Hugh and Anna, fantastic figures up there, well done. I've got a question about your equity growth over time chart there. Just can you help me understand, has your farm value increased over time in that graph, or has it all been from like a superior cash business that you're running?
From what I understand, the land prices all worked on the values that were purchased at. The thing that probably has gained a bit more in equity would be share prices. They have come up. And I think the cows are done at market value as of the National Herd Scheme, pretty sure.
Yes, so same, the dairy-based farm financials are just done off the government valuation, is my understanding. So if that increases slightly, so over the 4 or 5 years they've been here, it might have gone up 1,000 or 3,000 a hectare, so that would be included. In the dairy-based report, it breaks out what profit has come from capital growth and what has come from profit. And they're not just sitting here waiting for their farm to go up in value. They're really, you wouldn't be getting that kind of debt reduction without amazing cash flow. So that's great.
Cool.
We'll take this question and then we've got one from Slido.
Yeah, hey, just a bit more on what Aleisha was saying, but I think, well done. This is amazing in terms of being able to pay down debt so quickly. I've been around for a bloody long time, and we've seen all sorts of payouts and costs, and right now with what Trump is up to in the Middle East, that's not going to end well. We may well see a realignment of demand. Chinese may decide they don't need to be so exposed to world prices. Dairy in this country is still very agile, but my question would be, what happens to your thinking if the payout looks like $7.50? What's your reaction straight away? Where do you say, yep, no, we got to cut that? Can you do it? And still, your ego's not going to get in the way.
Yep, no, sure. That's definitely a thing we're always conscious of, because, as say, we started in that $3.90 payout, so we know exactly what it's like to have next to no cash flow. So my big thing there, I'd probably would be starting off with a bit of cutting out the feed, any excess feed that we don't sort of need, and also destocking would be a big thing. Not keep that to a minimum, but it's going to be a same thing. You got to play it by ear, right? You kind of got to if it crashes, you just got to do these things. At the same time, try not to hurt what could be a turnaround in the next following sort of years. So you kind of got to ride the wave a little bit. Is kind of my theory there. But at the same time, you never know how long the hurt's going to be, or how long the height of the wave's going to be either. So my big thing is just trying to make most of it and just keep finger on pulse on either side of it. So. But yeah, no, definitely a big thing would be just turning some taps off and destocking a bit and just trying to get through as cheaply as possible. But I don't know how far I can cut that many more costs without just dropping the hobby feed out. And if I tried keeping the stocking rate high and things like that, then you end up with flow-on effects of high empty rates and things like that. So,
Where would your first go-to be in the event of a declining outlook?
So if the milk price dropped, what would be the first thing Hugh and Anna looked at to reduce expenses?
First thing I take action on is definitely the board and feed side of things. Would be cut that back as much as sort of possible, and align that with destocking cows where we can. Would be. Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay, great. We've got another crowd question.
So 2 drivers of profit, pasture harvested, but also 6-week and calf rate. People seem to get a little bit forgotten about 6-week and calf rate, and I see yours have jumped up 2 years in a row by 10%. What are you doing around that if you're not got any wearables or anything like that? Still doing the same things that you've done for the last 10 years?
We will cover it again later on, I think, but a quick...
Anna will give a heads up since she's the cow lady.
Oh, yep. Yeah, go for it.
I think a lot of it is we just keep onto it every year. We keep critiquing, keep the cows well fed. And I think as well as culling, making sure we don't keep those cows that we have trouble with. I'm a big thing of I want compact calving, so I'll get rid of those late ones and keep.
Yep.
Well, this year we got rid of all our September calvers due to 84%. Around that 10, 12.
Hugh, pass the microphone over. So a couple of years ago, there was a 19% empty rate, which was an absolute shock for these guys. So do you want to talk about how that came around and kind of what you've done to get back on track?
So, well, we're looking at it in Patagonia.
Yeah, just briefly.
Yeah. We decided to go down the exec semen, see how it goes. We did the first 2 weeks, and then we did normal nominate afterwards. Some section rate wasn't the greatest for us. Yeah, 32 hold and 64 on normal semen hold, so that's really spreaded it out for us.
And another key thing, these guys, your CEDA program.
Don't do it.
Okay, so breeding it in over periods of time.
Very natural breeding here.
Okay, great. Another question, Brett?
Yeah, so just a question on Slido. So how does the workload compare between the recent season and earlier season when supplement usage was lower? So I suppose you're putting more supplement in. Are you seeing an increase in workload, and how are you coping with that?
No, because basically the workload of that is just in-shed feeding. So it's literally just tend to feed her up and pull the string. That's the beauty of this of the in-shed feeding. I just can't rate it high enough. It's just so easy. We don't have feeder organs. Having a feeder organ out there going around, it's more workload and wear and tear. So I do really love the in-shed feeding way of doing things. It's just unbeatable in my eyes. Is that right?
Another one here. How did you first get enough money together to go share milking?
Oh, good question. For me, I managed to. My big thing there was when I was contract milking. I used mum and dad's hay barn to rear extra calves. I used to go around after hours and pick up milk from wherever I could find and milk powder from wherever I could find and rear them there. That was a good way of kind of some forced savings, if anything, to rear those up and paid grazing there to rear them and sold them as in-calf heifers. And that was kind of my big sort of cash gain there, and just managed to save up as I kind of went as well. But that was pretty good. I managed to get to 400 cows there, just from doing this thing. That was good. And as Anna?
With me, it was a bit different. Dad only gave me a year notice, but thankfully he went half and half with me, which helped a huge amount since he gave me the job. No, but very grateful because I wouldn't be here without him, so yeah.
A question for Hugh. Now, when you purchased your herd, did you buy the best cows, average cows, or what happened?
Yeah,
'Cause
okay.
you're 21.
Yep, no, I had to buy the herd. I had to buy the cows on farm. He was basically putting his, the farm owner owned the cows at the time, and I had to buy his cows. That's where it was quite a thing there because they were all unrecorded. He had mined it, but there was nothing on it. He had scanned the herd and he wrote all the empties down on the back of an envelope, and there was about 3 cows of the same number there, so we didn't actually know which one was empty. So I had to buy all his cows and all the young stock off him as well. So that was quite a gamble. It was quite a gamble at the time, but at the same time, as I said before, I'd been looking for about 3 or 4 years for a sheep job by that stage, and this was a good size. It was 400 cows, but good scale. So I was like, oh, what's the worst can happen? Took it on and away I went. So and then I just kind of bought some cows from around the place and that sort of thing. So I didn't really have a choice on what cows I could buy. That was the main core. And luckily, I just had Hawkeyes for those first 21 days on what was cycling in the paddock, and he had bought those back off me, so it was kind of worked well because it was a big thing there. Yeah. So that was a bit unorthodox, but that's how that went. Yep.
Yeah. Just another question that came in. Do you think like your really good financial results, are they coming from the high milk output or the good cost control, or a bit of both?
Yeah, probably a bit of both. Really. I'm not focused on trying to do 600 solids a cow. It would be nice, but I think it's just too highly strung for what we're trying to do here. So I'd rather just try to do it as cheaply as possible. Really, is our big thing. Yeah. Just trying to keep our costs under control without being too stingy and too miserable about it.
So it looks like a good mix of the two, doing production to dilute lots of the fixed costs and then having cost control at the same time.
Yep.
Cool. Have we got any more questions from the crowd? Yep, one over here.
What's your staffing thing there, Hugh?
Yep, so staffing, we've got Laura and Alvin, I've pointed out before. So we've got Alvin's based on the bottom farm. They're both herd managers, basically. So they run a shed each. And we're here to help with calving and mating, and we kind of try to leave them to it as much as we sort of can through summer when it gets a bit easier. We've got Alvin now picking paddocks down the bottom farm. He's doing a great job with that. And Laura's only been here a short time, so we're going to get her going with that too as soon as we sort of can. But yeah, the big thing is just a person for each sort of farm, and then I can just float between the two. We float between the two.
Anna's a pretty good farmer. She just
she
gets
is,
lumped
yes.
with the kids, right?
No, she's 100%. So it's fine. But that's basically the structure we're trying to run here. Is just one for each farm. So it's 350 cows up here and 290, 300 down there, down the bottom farm. So both one-man sheds after mating, and the way they
We get a mic at the back,
not too bad.
please.
Just starting.
Hello, sorry. I milked like 360 cows this morning and was out of the shed by like 7:15. So it's got a walkover teat sprayer. There's, with the in-shed feed, it's got good cow flow. You don't really need to use the backing gate at all. Like, it is efficient, and that then probably stops you needing an extra half a person of staff. The fact that each of the cow sheds suits the herd you've got and suits, like, that keeps that really efficient as well.
So 360 cows this morning, just herself, and done by 7:15.
Superstar.
No, not every day. Today was good.
Hugh, sorry, Aleisha, just on the labour thing then, for rostered time off, are you milking in 2 sheds on the one weekend, or how do you work that one?
Yeah, basically, we're super flexible on time off. Whenever they've got something on or something they want to have off, we try and accommodate that. Likewise, when we want to go somewhere. So yeah, they're basically in springtime when there's a lot of workload on, we have them on the same weekend, but say Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, Monday, sort of thing. That sort of system, and just where we can kind of have enough people on board. But through the summer, we can just run the same weekends off, and then me and Anna will just do a shed each, and help our grandparents to kind of look after the kids when needed, if they're available. Yeah, so it's kind of straightforward as that, really. Yeah, I've had an injury with my knee this year, so I had help from the neighbours there a bit, and we were asking to find some relief milkings. Yeah, but they're pretty hard to come by, so we're trying to keep a lot of it in-house where we can. Yep.
Just another question here, and probably firstly just a comment as well. So Hugh Anna obviously got pretty good results here, and running a pretty tight ship, but they've also got a really good work-life balance, and they're getting off farm a lot as well. So it's not, they're not just here every day, head down. They are getting out and about as well, which is really important. But as young people coming through the industry, how important was young farmers and just industry involvement, and also mentors, and how do you sort of choose them and identify them?
You answer it? You answer it? Okay. Yep. Yeah, young farmers, absolutely, 100%. Every farmer should go to that and be involved and make it your own. It's a awesome thing to be involved in. As I say, there's so many opportunities in this industry. It's such a great one to be a part of, and awesome people in it. Yeah, we've been to plenty of weddings now from young farmers and that sort of thing. So that's always a good time. But yeah, and just the big thing is we need young people coming through, and I'm all for trying to help anyone to progress in the industry. I've had a lot of help myself. Mentors are a big thing to me. Just definitely people who've been there and done that sort of thing is a big one for me. So you're always picking their brains. You're taking little bits from different people, and you just make your own thing. And just it's so good. Being able to, that's the beauty of this industry, is that everyone is always happy to tell you what they're doing and how they're doing it. So it's really cool to be able to do that and pick away at the best of everything. Yeah.
We've heard quite a bit about the outside stuff. A question, what are you doing inside the business, working on the business in terms of budgets, cash flows, reporting to key stakeholders? And we'll start with Anna first. So do you do a budget at the start of the year?
Yes, we do.
Yep. And what does that look like? Are you starting from zero, or are you just rolling over from the previous year? What things do you talk about?
Pretty much kind of rolling off what we did last year in a way, like what we've done in the last couple of years. We work out an average, and
Yep. So that might be the time you say we're going to feed X amount this year. Yep. Those kind of discussions.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we do a budget every year. Bank always wants that every June, so it's fine. But we basically start off with what we've got our standard. I always go back to our first budget we did when we bought the farm, and we kind of work from that and just see how far we've gone from there. It's a bit different to what that looked like. when we bought the farm, we were going to budget on 220,000 milk solids. In the first year, we did 283 or something, so that was a good gain. And now we're over 300,000, but we do buy a lot more feed in. And so same thing, every year we're doing the budget. We are just also looking at the palm kernel prices and things like that and what the payout's doing and adjusting from there. So, I like to think we do make the most of those opportunities when they're there, rather than just be stuck in our one way. But you got to be aware that there are consequences if it does. The payout can change, and you just got to take the hit, I guess, if you're going to try those things. So,
So if the budget's set at the start of the season, when do you look at it again, or what do you do? Do you look when you do the GST, or when are times you?
Sort of looking at it, and then we kind of know it's always looking at it kind of as we're going along. But by all means, it's not we're not just stuck to it. Things do come up. I get bored and want to do a project or something, and kind of blows that one out a little bit. But and it all depends on what the payout's doing, and just keeping your finger on the pulse that way. Yep.
Cool. We've got another question from the crowd.
Thanks. Loving the discussion. Have you considered fixed milk price?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Yep, I have. We've looked at the futures markets there. Got a few mates following that all the time and always asking them where they're at and that sort of thing. But we did fix some milk the first year we bought the farm, and the milk price ended up being higher than what that fixed rate was. So I've been pissed off with that ever since. So I haven't done it again. But and every time I kind of ask, it's kind of already gone one way or the other. So I haven't really done it. But yeah, it's one of those things. You fix the palm kernel, so why wouldn't you fix the milk? But I guess I like a little bit of gambling and see what the market does. Yeah. If it looked like it was going to crash, and it's hard to always know, but if it looked like it was going to, then sure, I'd definitely look at fixing, but we haven't done so far.
Okay, we've probably got time for one or two more questions. Here's your chance.
Just one that came in the meet while we're waiting. It was about nitrogen. Would you consider upping the nitrogen levels? So spreading more nitrogen, and maybe that gives you an opportunity to pull back on the imported feed.
Yep, we are.
Do you want to say how much you're doing at the moment, just in case they haven't seen it?
Where is the number there? The number there?
It was around 90 to 100 was sort of
about 110 I saw. What was 111? Yep. Yeah, we'd definitely use more. If we kind of could, but we do follow the cows with low rates as it is. We could, and I don't know if talking to the reps, saying the more is not always the most best utilisation. So I feel as though we kind of use plenty as it is, but I'm happy to use more. I don't mind at all, but we try and follow the cows best we can, and just always trying to grow as much grass as we can all the time. Because, there's no point trying to grow grass in the middle of summer in the heat, because, it's not going to grow no matter what you throw at it. So I am a big fan of trying to make it grow more through spring. And if you get a little bit more surplus, so be it, because I do make my own sort of silage and keep it cheap that way. So, I'm not afraid of having a bit of surplus when I can get it. But, definitely not afraid of using nitrogen.
Awesome. I'm going to keep us to time, so that's 11:15, and we're going to make our way out to the paddock. I think there are some seats out there, but if you're desperate to be sitting down, then BYO seat with you, and we'll follow Steph that way. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hugh and Anna.